Carpe diem, yada yada, Ultranatic, yada yada, total drama. This is yada yada, animation, reality, yada yada. The show that combined them together the best. I'm sorry, I can't finish that. I know I've always said, lover of animation and reality shows, look over the show that combined them together the best. But if this show wanted to prove me wrong, it succeeded. In a little nightmare episode that I like to call Phobia Factor. Yet another episode that pays homage to a second reality show, Jersey Shore. No, that's a reality show I refuse to watch. Though that means it might be better than this episode. I'm not kidding, this episode has got to be one of the worst in the entire franchise. This is my reaction every time I watch this episode.
God, you make my skin boil!
Yeah, I'm completely on her side. Well, if the blood is hot enough, and right now my blood could melt lava. That's how utterly pissed off I am at this episode. What makes me so visibly angry? Well, let's all find a reason to be afraid with Phobia Factor. So we open with a direct disclaimer from Chris, comparing the last episode to this one. It's like he already knows the problems and is taunting us with them.
The challenge was rough, all right, and if I have anything to say about it, today's will be even more brutal.
You ain't kidding, Chris. Except replace the word challenge with reception and you've got it down pat. So, what's the best way to start off?
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
And the episode's off to a bang-up start, as I have several problems with the opening alone. First, remember that pointless epilogue in the last episode where Duncan scares Courtney? Why not put this scene there instead? It might have given us a better connection between Katie and Sadie, despite the phenomenal character development and bonding they had in the last episode.
Oh, you're just saying that because I'm prettier than you are. I knew you thought that! It's true, everybody thinks so.
But here we see the great sorrow from them separating right then and there, and the pain and torment Sadie will have not having her best friend around. But chuck that emotional bit of drama, they'll just put it at the start to fill time. And as a time filler, you could look at this two ways. One is dramatically, which I just pointed out how that doesn't work. I don't give two magicians hats about Katie and Sadie's friendship. I hate them together, I hate them separate, I hate them alive. And if you think that statement was harsh, it is. But the next theory might be even harsher. And that being, what if this is supposed to be comedic? Now, why would I assume it's there for comedy? Because they dragged the crying on for a good solid minute. So let me see if I understand the joke correctly here. Haha, that girl is crying, isn't it funny that the girl's crying? Look, the girl is crying, isn't that funny? Okay, maybe that wasn't the intention, but that's what I get out of it. And like most guys, I don't want to see a woman sobbing uncontrollably without being there to help them. Usually when I'm put in that position, this becomes my new bed. And yes, I'm aware that comedy is based on misery, but in context, there's no reason to root for Sadie to be sobbing her eyes out like a Sally Fields performance. As annoyed as I am with her personality, I'm not looking for her to be sad, that'd be cold and heartless. I'm just looking for the Monty Python foot to squash her. It ends everything. Quick and painless. Well, anyway, she gets taken back to the campfire with her team when the Gophers join in, offering a snack.
So what? You're just being nice?
Okay, Owen sank up our cabin and we need some time to air out.
Ew.
Back to the status quo.
We were out in the woods when we came upon the great beast. I tell you, he was 10 feet high if he was a foot!
Forget that horse castration. He's the exhaust of the bean factory again. But whatever, we have a setup. Where's this scene going?
No!
What, are you on a diet or something?
No, I just don't like green jelly, okay?
Okay.
Sorry for tripping. Snakes just freak me out.
I feel you. Chickens give me the creeps, dude.
Wow, that's really lame, man.
Well, that was awkwardly forced. There is no other way you could have shown those fears. Well, I suppose it's okay if it doesn't get any worse.
So suddenly, everyone's having this big share fest by the fire.
No.
Like Beth went on and on about how her mortal fear is being covered by bugs.
No.
Harold's afraid of ninjas. Even Heather admitted she's afraid of sumo wrestlers.
No.
What's my worst fear? I guess being buried alive.
No, stop. I'm sorry, I have to check for my own clarification if they really cared so little.
Harold's afraid of ninjas. Even Heather admitted she's afraid of sumo wrestlers.
No, I'm sorry, I must have picked the wrong show or something, because there's no freaking way it's a total drama episode I'm looking at. It had to have been a fan episode, or at least a fan dub, because I cannot see a team of professional writers coming up with something this ridiculously lazy.
What's my worst fear? I guess being buried alive.
Walking through a minefield.
Flying, man. That's some...
Nope, it's the real thing. So, where do I start with this mess? First off, I'll give kudos that they're paying homage to Fear Factor. The stunts in that show feel right at home in this cartoon. Where's the casualty counter at again? And there's plenty of comedic possibilities with that show. But it feels like instead of taking advantage of those possibilities, they just felt an obligation to reference this show as if it was a Seltzer and Freeberg movie. So they just squeeze everything into the challenge without any thought, just like every other episode. And in that process, to speed things up, they make up a bunch of fears for some of the contestants. And the problem I have with making up some of these fears, some of the contestants they do it for already have fears. Yeah, several of the campers have proven they're afraid of things already. Remember the fear of heights from DJ, Beth, and Courtney?
I have a medical condition. A condition that prevents me from jumping off cliffs.
Who is in denial, but I digress. Or how about Gwen's secrets being revealed? That apparently terrified her, or at least embarrassed her to a scary degree. We have Cody and Owen being afraid of bears from the last episode. And speaking of which, Sadie losing her best friend. That should definitely qualify. But no, with the exception of Bridget, whose fear of being in the woods from the last episode does come back into play, we have to start over from scratch when we've already made some good segues for this episode. So we're just gonna select their fears using random hands from Cards Against Humanity. Let's see here, being buried alive.
What's my worst fear? Being buried alive.
Hail.
I'm scared of hail. Small but deadly, dude.
Diffusing a time bomb under pressure.
Having to defuse a time bomb under pressure.
And finally...
Celine Dion music store standees.
I can't even pretend that card's in this deck. Okay, in concept, that would be ungodly hilarious. Except I'm looking at it not laughing, but instead terribly confused. You're scared of a cardboard cutout of one of the most iconic singers in the world, instead of the singer herself.
So if we had a cardboard standee right now...
Shut up!
It's so freaking aggravating, especially when you realize it's just a means to an end. It's a way for Chris to use this as an opportunity to exploit their worst fears. Did they really need to reveal them so openly? There's no reason to reveal any of these fears. And it's not like production couldn't have figured these out already. Shouldn't these things have been written down in their applications? Screw it. Next morning.
Campers, your next challenge is a little game I like to call Phobia Factor.
So yeah, the next day at breakfast, Chris announces the challenge is facing their worst fears.
Worse than this? We're in trouble.
Nice read there, ladies. You can thank your acting coach for that one.
Heather, it's sumo time!
And that's what's known as the spit take!
Gwen, you, me, the beach, a few tons of sand.
How did they know those were your worst fears?
Because we told them?
Ugh, as if I don't reference Mr. Enter enough.
Pointing out your problems doesn't make them go away.
But if you thought the setup was horribly contrived, wait until you see each individual challenge, because most of them make no sense whatsoever. Ignoring that the Gophers have a numbers advantage again, I'm confused how you're supposed to win any of these tasks. Okay, some make sense, like Bridget's fear was being in the woods alone. Have her stay in the woods for 6 hours without leaving. Or Beth's fear was being covered by bugs. Have her jump in a whole pool of them.
And Beth sets the bar way up there.
Which she doesn't even flinch at.
Beth went on about how her mortal fear is being covered by bugs.
I'll give the writers the benefit of a doubt and say that maybe Beth was smart enough to remember she was being filmed and just make a fear up. Otherwise, you should have animated at least a hint of anxiety on her face. But while those challenges make sense, several others don't. Like Heather's fear is sumo wrestlers, so she's supposed to face a sumo wrestler in the amphitheater.
Heather stepped up to the plate, scoring the Gophers their second point on the board.
Okay, how the frick did she earn a point doing that? She happened to take down a 500-pound sumo wrestler by just ducking in place? That wasn't conquering her fears, that was just hiding from them. And I wouldn't get so angry over this except that half of the other challenges have an outcome like that. But sometimes it's in reverse. What do I mean by that? Well, for example, Harold has to face ninjas in the bathroom, again with no fear in his eyes. And instead of nunchucks, he just keeps on him. Actually, that's kind of funny. But even though he's fully prepared to take them on, he accidentally knocks himself out with the nunchucks and doesn't earn a point. Why? He was fully ready to confront his quote-unquote fear. Is it because he's already carried his team to victory twice already and you thought he needed a break?
Idiots!
Let's see what other half-baked challenges they put out there. Jeff just gets pelted by this cloud of hail that Chris controls, which I can't even imagine how much money I took out of the budget. And how is he supposed to accomplish a task if it's just the cloud attacking him? Is he supposed to just yell at the cloud to leave him alone? My two biggest fans could be replaced by an alarm clock hooked up to a speaker. They're that annoying. Stop laughing at the potential irony. To be fair, it does give us this funny line.
Can you make the cloud go lower and pelt him harder?
You are one sick dude. But yeah.
Now I bet you're all thinking, oh, you have a better idea for how these challenges could be done? Yes, I do. That dodgeball arena we never see again? Why not just fill it with spiders, bugs, snakes, mimes, whatever the contestant's afraid of, and then make them run to the end of it to retrieve something and then bring it back. It would have made contestants actually have to face their fears, or at least force them to not cower from them, and it would give a way for them all to earn a point. The sumo wrestlers, the ninjas, it all would have worked great here. On that note, am I the only one concerned that there are two campers who have potentially xenophobic fears of Japanese athletes? We see Sadie and Lindsay have a fear of bad haircuts, so their challenge is... I have no idea what that was. So their challenge is wearing an ugly wig for the day. I'm sorry, if their fear is bad haircuts, then what's the fear in wearing a stupid wig that you know isn't your actual haircut? It's like being afraid of having an ugly face and then being forced to wear this mask. Who cares? You can always take it off. Well, maybe not this mask.
There's no line. There's no line here.
Throughout the day, other fears get tested. Owen and Izzy have to fly in a plane piloted by Chef. Okay, flying shouldn't be their biggest fear, that image should be. And Lashana ran away from Chef in a spider costume. What's that? We forgot to write her mentioning her fear at the beginning of the episode? Oops. We see Gwen gets buried under the beach for 5 minutes.
As long as we decide to dig you up.
Not funny, Chris.
Okay, I know in the future this show gets sued, but why did it take so long when you have that brush-off comment? What next? Is he going to jokingly poison the contestants? Say, how big were those contracts? We then see DJ facing his fear of having to touch the world's cutest snake.
We need this point, DJ! Suck it up! See? Fear is only in the mind.
Thank you, Lieutenant Obvious. You'll be promoted to captain once you reveal the sun's bigger than the moon. Meanwhile, Trent, as a loyal boyfriend, is watching out for Gwen.
I need some kind of distraction. Why do you hate mime so much?
Yeah, that makes sense. Distract me from my worst fear by telling me in great detail why you're scared of your worst fear. And what do you know, as he's telling her his story, he has an encounter with a mime. So, what's his challenge?
Just talk to him, bro, and ask him to go away.
That's impossible! Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm not standing for this. Are you telling me that this challenge, along with presumably every other challenge like it, would have been solved had they just told their fears to go away?
Just talk to him, bro, and ask him to go away.
Okay, let me sort out this analogy with my biggest fear, needles. Are you telling me that my fear of needles would be conquered if I just told the doctors or dentists to put them away? I don't know if that was the message within the script or not, but I refuse to believe this episode is telling me that their version of conquering fears like this is just telling them to leave them alone. If conquering our fears means telling them to go away, how do we tell this freaking episode to go away? Anyway, as Gwen is left 10 feet under, Cody's challenge is put to the test.
This garbage bomb's going off in exactly 10 minutes. Everything you need to know to defuse it is on these schematic blueprints.
Oh my god, you're literally going to have a 16-year-old defuse a bomb? Oh, it's a bomb of garbage. Okay, slightly less dangerous, I'll give you that. However, this begs the question. Why was Cody's biggest fear specifically defusing a time bomb under pressure? Shouldn't his biggest fear have just been pressure? Defusing a time bomb only makes sense as a fear if there's possibility it's something you would do on a regular basis. And unless he's under John Woo's direction, that's pretty unlikely. Anyways, Trent is still running from the mime. Again, that arena full of mimes idea I mentioned couldn't have worked.
There's no wall there, man! Stop being creepy!
Well, he just won a point for his team. Except he didn't. He hasn't won anything yet.
You're not making any sense at all.
Okay, he's been running from his fear for probably 10 minutes. Then faces him, does what Chris asked, and didn't win a point. Is anyone else seeing my frustration? Anyways, what about Duncan and the Celine Dion music store standee? I cannot say that with a straight face.
Just one hug, and you're done. That looks really real, man.
Oh, so you are afraid of the real Celine Dion. Then why didn't we just get Celine Dion? Fair enough, it doesn't excuse the writing, though.
Dude, she's made of cardboard! Get in the game!
Hey, it's okay if you can't do it.
Alright, I'll try.
I love how Courtney's idea of support to DJ is yelling at him to suck it up.
We need this point, DJ! Suck it up!
But supporting Duncan like she's a passionate girlfriend.
Hey, it's okay if you can't do it.
I know, it's supposed to build up their showmance, but still, shouldn't that have been switched around? So he goes to hug her and... To be fair, the dramatic, Titanic-ish choir does make for a funny scene.
Duncan, you're awesome!
As well as Courtney's hug to him, that was a nice touch. But what about Trent? Well, he jumps in the lake, apparently conquering his fear, God knows how, and earning a point.
Take that, you makeup-wearing freak!
Hello? Hello? Makeup-wearing freak of a girl you're still into, buried underground? Hello? And as I mentioned before, Jeff gets pelted by hail.
Oh, that's awesome.
You can tell by the excitement from my voice. I'll show you how excitable I am by listening to lullabies for the next hour. That being said, Trent does wake up when he's reminded that Gwen's time is up. Well, not up, like, well, up, but her challenge is complete.
I'm gonna bury him in hail.
Barry! Oh, crap! Gwen!
Finally, something in the episode that wasn't horribly contrived. However, we go right back to the stupid stuff when Cody doesn't get the bomb defused. But he did at least stick around to try and didn't hide from it. Hence how he's now covered in garbage, including a watermelon on his head. So not only is that a funny image, but it earns him a point. Oh wait, no he doesn't. Well, screw you too, episode. Have you considered buying this t-shirt? I guess his fate did cause Bridget to not face her fear fully, so that adds up to something, I guess. But then Gwen is dug up and is thankfully okay.
She's alright! She's alright!
Say, here's another problem with the episode. I know, they're everywhere. But just as I was confused at how some of these challenges were supposed to be won, some of them I'm confused how you were supposed to lose. I suppose they could have just refused to do the fears. But, for example, Gwen got stuck underground for 5 minutes. Even if she had been asked to be dug up immediately afterwards, my guess is with the time it would take to dig her up, she'd have been in that box 5 minutes anyways. Or heck, Izzy and Owen just finishing their plane ride. Unless they hadn't accepted, how are they supposed to fail? Jump out of the plane? My guess is that would have been a bigger fear to face in the first place. Or heck, what about Tyler?
You need to get into this pen for 3 minutes with these chickens.
Alright, I'm sorry. I hate to do this again. But I have yet another scene with a dozen problems to fill the egg carton. What the? Shut up! First off, didn't Tyler already face a chicken earlier by having to eat a fried live one? How would that have even worked? He was alive, but cooked and didn't look fake. Whatever. Second, he clearly faced that chicken, so why wasn't he given a point then? Third, we never actually see the challenge completed, and yet he gets voted off for not completing it. You could have at least shown him failing, or did you have to fill time for that hilarious ballet scene? Fourth, the killer bass lost already. Yeah, the score is currently 7-3. Even if Tyler completed it, it'd be 7-4. We're done. You can stop now.
Not necessarily. We've got one more challenge set up.
It can't be me, but I didn't...
You didn't have to.
Because you already wrote it down in your application, Grit Brain.
No! I mean, no thanks. I'm good. I just don't like green jelly, okay?
Yeah, that green jelly was jumping right at you, wasn't it? So her challenge is to dive into a pool of it. Why does she need to dive? I mean, okay, she's afraid of heights, we got that. But wouldn't that be dangerous in this scenario? Fair enough, but my point still stands. Heck, all Beth had to do was step into her pool and that was it. Courtney can't do the same here. Oh, and even if Courtney and Tyler did their challenges, they still lost, so it doesn't really matter.
Let's make this interesting then. I'll give you triple points if you can complete it.
Okay, the score would then be 7-6 or 7-all. So it'd still be either the Screaming Gophers or a tie. But beyond that, that's not fair to the Gophers who actually did their challenges. Most of them faced their fears in the first place, so this is a complete slap in the face to them, as well as the audience.
I can't do it. I'm coming down. All right!
The Gophers win invincibility this week.
Shame, you couldn't have just skipped that part. So we get to the campfire ceremony and it's down to Tyler, Bridget, and Courtney. But the one left without a marshmallow is Tyler.
You'll get that chicken next time, dude.
Yeah, I guess to be fair, he wasn't useful throughout the game for his team anyways. But just when you think this episode couldn't get any lazier, they end with nothing but a bunch of chicken puns as Tyler leaves.
Looks like a new pecking order has been established here.
It's not like he can cry foul.
Time for Tyler to fly the coop.
You won't be flying high tonight.
This is my wife. Becca, yeah, my wife, Becca.
And look, he has to face chickens for a third time. Yep, let's just pick Tyler to have the worst stuff happen to him over nothing in the worst episode.
Aw, I'll never forget our time together, Tyler.
And finally, it ends. Guys, this is one of the worst episodes in the show's history. The script is horribly forced, the comedy almost non-existent, the possibilities unexplored, and nothing about the rules make any lick of sense. You know those people who like rewriting episodes of a TV show that they thought were bad? This is one where I think that I could rewrite it. I'm not saying I would, but I feel there's so many possibilities with this idea for jokes that they never chose to look at. If this is an episode about conquering your worst fears, then I definitely earned a point. Because I'm afraid this episode is unbearable. And I can definitively say that after watching this episode, absolutely nothing could make me feel any better. Playing the Disney afternoon theme.
Bringing you a
Never say nothing! Oh my god! Phobia Factor might have done some good for me! Seriously, had I not been so mad, I wouldn't have slammed my hands to the desk, accidentally turned my phone on by coincidence, and then heard the Disney Afternoon theme, giving me inspiration for my next video! Absolutely not. Seriously, Phobia Factor can kiss my ass!
Today I don't feel like doing anything. I just wanna lay